Hello, every honey.
Hello honeys, I've collected all 26 exclusive Sangria Rosa Coords featuring the mobile game Aikatsu photo on stage, and I put them all together for you. Enjoy! 26. Deliciosa Paella. Deliciosa Paella is in a difficult spot for me. I'm not a fan of food themes, and the mix of fast food and flamenco motifs is not helping its case. I know the ruffles, cut, and even the patterns are staying pretty true to the flamenco inspiration, but those yellow and black caution tape ruffles in the skirt are too much for me. I think we saw a similar disaster in the Happy Rainbow Photokatsu ranking. 25. Rose Vampire Hunt. Rose Vampire Hunt is almost cute, but I'm very troubled by its reverse high-low skirt concept. It looks so floppy and awkward at the front that I almost missed how weird the asymmetrical sleeves look. They could have worked, but stacking all those layers on one arm is wild. 24. Phoenix Carmen. Phoenix Carmen is salvageable. Admittedly, I'm just not super into the orange and green palette. The use of black here is kind of cowardly too. I can see that they wanted a black glove, but then they could only bear to use it in a tiny belt to try to tie it together. Same for the phoenix motif. You get 3 tiny feathers in the skirt and hair accessory, and that's enough for a mythical creature concept, I guess. 23. Rosa Roja. The cut of Rosa Roja is giving me serious deja vu, but I can't remember where else we've seen a dress like this. That green panel in the bodice and skirt is seriously throwing me off. I kind of like how unique the palette is, but the shapes and visual rhythm are so weird. Look at how strange the layering of the red sleeve, yellow bust draping, purple underlayer, and green overlayer are. What's happening? 22. Passion Rose. Passion Rose not being last place is a bad sign. I thought I hated this color palette and the draping and the cut and the patterns, but at the very least it's cohesive. I can tell that it was meant to be cute from a heart-shaped neckline, but someone clearly went for some more exaggerated Spanish references and got lost in those repetitive rose appliques. 21. Royal Red China. We're getting into dicey territory with Royal Red China. To be honest, I don't know why we're throwing Chinese fantasy into the mix when the Spanish dance concept is already a challenge. This is practically a Power Ranger color palette with the saturated red, navy, and gold. The style is both graphic and organic, which is kind of weird, and they threw bright purple roses on it for some reason. 20. Royal Green China. At the very least, Royal Green China is cute. Kind of. The red sash is not fitting in cohesively, but the overall cut of the dress is nice, and the balance between graphic and organic shapes is looking better. It's barely Spanish at all, which is the entire brand concept, but aesthetically it's fine. Bonus points for working in those neon stripes in the leg warmers for Rin. 19. Rosa Rose Yukata. Finally, something that makes a little more sense. Rosa Rose Yukata does a better job at mixing Spanish influences in with the yukata concept. Big roses everywhere? Fine. Red and purple palette? Okay. I'll even let them have that spiky trim in the stocking since it kind of matches the spikiness of the sleeve trim. 18. Winter Glamorous. This is the point where people who enjoy warmer color palettes might get a little annoyed with me. I do like Winter Glamorous. I think the salsa inspired cut is nice, and you know I love fur trim. The varied textures and applique placements are pretty nice too. But it's definitely feeling more like a competition dance dress than a practical winter outfit. So I'm getting hung up on it looking both too warm and too cold for any given scenario. 17. Restaurante Cook. Restaurante Cook may be basic, but I really love the embroidery in the apron and trousers. It elevates the overall look significantly. I'm sad that this is the only full body image I could find of it since these shoes are pretty obscured and they have a lot of detail. The little chef hat is adorable. It'd be higher if it wasn't such a simple concept. 16. Vanilla Bonita. Vanilla Bonita presents us with a problem, and that problem is the brownish yellow skirt pattern they've chosen. I'm known to enjoy pink, blue, gold, and all the intricate jewelry going on here, but why that skirt pattern? I can't pin down what the inspiration was here, so it just leaves me feeling vaguely suspicious of the concept. 15. Pepper Bonita. The problem continues in Pepper Bonita. I thought the green and blue were a better match for that yellow skirt layer, but it's not great either. We haven't even talked about the random black leg warmers yet, or the big sharp leaves, feathers, and the bodice. It's not ugly, but it is strange. 14. Chili Bonita. Yellow looks best in Chili Bonita, and so do those leg warmers, where they at least kind of match the purple accents in the palette. They must be going for some kind of North African or Middle Eastern mix of motifs here, which is slightly relevant to the brand concept, but it is not coming through in a way that feels purposeful to me. 13. Passion Beach Summer. Passion Beach Summer is so close. I always think that it looks pretty until I get smacked in the eyes by that bright pink bow at the waist. It's also very confusing that they chose orange hibiscus flowers for her hair when they blend in so closely with it. The clothing and jewelry pieces themselves are very beautiful, they just took a sharp turn on the colors in a few spots. 12. Passion Noche. We've talked about nightgowns recently, and I really like this one. Passion Noche's theming is a bit clumsy, they did their best with those ruffles over the bodice, but this is pretty much just a basic empire waist dress. The big graphic rose pattern is a bold choice that works, and I like that the bows and the shoes match the bow headband. 11. Passion Soul. Passion Soul is also a safe design. The asymmetrical shoulder ruffle has a cool matador influence to it, which is on theme, but the gold trim and slit in the skirt has a distinctly Chinese feel to it that is confusing. It works, and the mix of motifs is interesting, but maybe it's the red dress that's making them lean into Chinese influences. I don't know. 10. Caliente Heart. Caliente Heart being in the top 10 is another pretty bad sign. I absolutely hate the polka dots and plaid they're using in those ruffle layers. The overall palette is not my favorite, but it's fine. It's mostly the dramatic cut of the dress that I like. That big dynamic skirt is posed really beautifully. And weird brokenness of that gloved arm aside, the asymmetry is working for me. 9. Red Rose Chocolate. Red Rose Chocolate is adorable, but not on theme almost at all. It's probably the best use of brown I've seen in these Valentine's coords. The red is a natural fit for it, and the black successfully deepens the overall palette. I love the torn wrapper concept as well as the lacing in the bodice and shoes. The big heart graphic in the skirt is a great asymmetrical detail too. 8. Royal Blue China Princess. Back to the Chinese fantasy concept, Royal Blue China Princess is also not on theme even a little bit. I think it's pretty bold to even pretend that this is a Sangria Rosa design with those rose motifs, but it is genuinely gorgeous with my favorite colors, a smart use of gradients and color blocking, and some very intricate details, so I couldn't put it any lower. 7. Royal Passion. Similar story for Royal Passion, but I gave it more of a pass since this is closer to the Spanish concept than the previous design. The ballerina concept of the royal coords is the dominant theme, but it's tried to bring in the obligatory roses and gold trim ruffles for Sangria Rosa, and it is very cute. 6. Rose Dance. Rose Dance is another yukata design in very Halloween-y colors, which is fine. We had a similar concept for the Passion Jalapeno unit coords. Overall, it's pretty. I like the asymmetry in the skirt print, and all the layering in the bodice is working well. The gray accents are a pretty unique choice, but they're not distracting, so that's fine for me. 5. Color Rojo. Color Rojo is the first design I think I really like. Aside from the strange segment of stripes in the boots or stockings, the bodice in navy, white, and orange is a strong piece, and I don't even mind the clash between the graphic stripes and scrolling patterns in the skirt that much. Proportions of those two sections are well balanced, and the varied sizes of the roses breaks up the tension between them. 4. Satanas Rojo. I also really like Satanas Rojo, which doesn't sound correct to my ear, but that's the name. I always appreciate pants in aikatsu, and these gradient leggings are very pretty. I appreciate that they reverse the gradient for the trailing jacket lining. There's a lot going on in the bodice and jacket itself, with a lot of jagged lines that help sell the more threatening concept. The staff is also a great prop. 3. Delicioso Solo. Delicioso Solo is higher because I think it's finally engaging with the Spanish concept in a satisfying way. The Victorian bustle inspiration in the skirt structure is unique, and the flared sleeves mirror the open high-low skirt well. I particularly enjoy the fringe trim on the black peplum. It blends the look of crochet with flamenco shawls. Very nice attention to detail here. 2. Red Rose Princess. Red Rose Princess gets a lot of respect from me for elevating its base coord, Rose Glass Princess, and successfully bringing in more flamenco influence in the skirt ruffles. The additions of lacing in the bodice and slightly more elaborate sleeves are both great, since they bring some much needed complexity to those areas. 1. Diablo Azul. Diablo Azul is the entire reason I wanted to do this ranking in the first place. It's insane! The most dramatic element is definitely the extremely exaggerated bat wings. The gold tips on them are intense. Admittedly, the layering is a little busy, but I blame the magic effect over the art for some of that. The sparkly blue skirt, sleeves, and bodice are very fun, and I appreciate the velvety red linings of those pieces. This is hands down one of the most dramatic Photokatsu designs I've seen. Let me know your favorite Sangria Rosa Photokatsu coords in the comments below, and look out for my Hineki deep dive next month. Bye bye!
Hey! Hinekari!